Cyberspace, the final frontier. These are the ramblings of the critic, the comic archivist. His continuing mission, to explore strange new comics, to seek out new comics and new comicizations, to boldly go where probably dozens, if not hundreds, have gone before. Hey, you already see the video title, so let's just dive right in. Warning, massive spoilers for Star Trek The Next Generation, Doctor Who Assimilations incoming. On with the show. Star Trek The Next Generation, Doctor Who Assimilation number 5. So we open with the Doctor trying to reason with Picard that if the Borg are willing to fight the Cybermen, they should at least be listened to. But of course Picard is having none of that. He's ready to sit back and watch them destroy each other. Guinan, however, comes in to try and reason out the situation. So she tells the tale of why Picard hates the Borg so much to the Doctor. For those not in the know, Picard was kidnapped and assimilated into the Borg Collective, and then given the name Locutus of Borg. Using his knowledge, they decimated the Federation at the Battle of Wolf 359, but he was saved by Worf and Data, also blowing up that particular Borg cube that was heading to Earth, and free Picard from the Borg control. The Doctor gives his deepest sympathies, and then goes on to explain who the Cybermen are. However, though Guinan and the Doctor both try to get Picard to change his mind, he still has the course set for Earth, much to the Doctor's annoyance. Over in the medical bay, Rory and Dr. Crusher are talking about medical practices of the 24th century. What with him being a ward nurse and all when he's not being dragged around by the short hairs thanks to his wife. The Doctor comes in ready to leave and figure a way to stop the Cybermen by himself, but Counselor Troy gives her opinion, thinking that maybe the Doctor isn't the right person to talk to Picard about this. So Amy goes to Picard to tell him goodbye. She explains why she's willing to follow the Doctor on a nearly endless parade of certain death. But the Doctor wants to do one more thing to sway Picard. Camp Picard goes to the holodeck to meet with the Doctor, Amy, and Rory. However, Amy and Rory wait outside the TARDIS as the Doctor brings Picard in. Of course, Picard pulls that "it's big on the inside" thing. Yes, I know, my Patrick Stewart always sounds a bit like Sean Connery. Anyways, the TARDIS does its thing, and the Doctor tells Picard to open the door. They're 50 years into the future, floating above the planet Okonos, the homeworld of the Klingons. Totally subjugated by the Cybermen. They then travel 30 years later. The world of Rexicorcofalapatorius, and no, I didn't spell that right in the script, has fallen. 30 years later, the Vulcan homeworld. 25 years later, the Jadoon. 40 years later, though they fought valiantly, the last bastion of free humanity falls as Earth is subjugated. Now Picard sees the ultimate ramifications of his own bias. And to really hammer it home, the Doctor tells Picard that they need to help the Borg not because it will save their universes, but because it's what makes them better than their enemies. Picard concedes, and they're ready to meet with the Borg. Actually, I got into a discussion about this issue specifically when a friend of mine found out that I was doing this series. This issue is all about showing Picard the ramifications of his justified hate. My friend tries to go into how this is a stupid issue because it totally makes Picard seem like some super douche who wouldn't care about a legitimate threat to humanity because of his own petty views on the Borg. But to me, it's sort of an understandable thing. I mean, there's a parallel between what happened to Picard and being forced into doing something, well, yes, it is compared to enslavement in this comic. There's also something that I'm not really going to get into that it's easily compared to. So while it is an understandable hatred, it doesn't need to be shown the big picture to really get over it. It makes sense to me. Should it have been a full issue though? I honestly totally think so. This issue is basically a discussion about overcoming your own bias, no matter how founded they may be, to better the whole. So come back tomorrow as Picard meets with his own devils for a greater good.
Star trekking across the universe.